So yeah, we do not curse here. It's family friendly, and I assume
Fine.
you follow the
Sure.
Quran. You don't want to use bad language. So let's continue very respectfully.
Okay. So,
All right?
yeah, like if I'm speaking to one person, keep it at that. If the three or five want to suddenly start barking, that is not respectful at all. You can't play the respect card.
We
Okay?
multiple people do speak in here, but if you wish to speak to me only, that's fine as well. All right? Do you want to
Right.
speak to me alone?
Okay. I mean, I'm speaking to you like right now. They can listen. That's fine. No problem.
Sure. All right, that's
Okay,
good.
so back to the verse. Mufassal is every single word in the Quran mufassal.
Every single word fully detailed?
Hmm.
No, it's not needed because certain words are already established. The Quran is not a dictionary, right? For example, the word as-salat does not need to be explained because it already predates the Quran. I tell you to do a push-up, I don't
Okay.
need to tell you you have to lie on
Are
the ground, put your hands
okay.
forward, and push yourself up and
Are you
down.
aware of the concept of mufradat?
Singulars?
Yes.
About what?
In terms of tafsir.
No, I'm not aware of that.
Okay.
What is that?
So for every single surah in the Quran, rather for every single verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used certain words that you will not find anywhere else except for like very poetic works. Right? They're not casually used. Okay?
Yeah, there are
So
certain words. Yeah, of course, we know that.
yeah, so in order to understand these words, you would not know them instinctually. Even a lot of like the regular listeners, they had to ask the Prophet themselves. You don't accept the Prophet's hadith, sure, no problem. But my point is, from a historical perspective, even some of the Arabs had to think, what does this word mean? I can give you thousands of examples of these mufradat. So I'm asking you again, if you say the kitab is mufassal, the Quran is mufassal, does it give us tafsil of every single one of these thousands of mufradat?
No, it doesn't because when it was revealed, it had to be in. It says that we have revealed this book in a clear Arabic tongue, right? So at the time of the revelation with Prophet Muhammad, every single verse, every single word was clear to the people. Now it's 1400 years later, like you said, there's mufradat that we don't know
Mm,
about. There's
yeah,
these words that we don't know about. And that's why God has sent a messenger, Dr. Rashad Khalifa, to explain the Quran to us, right? And we have his translation that we
okay.
accept
Hmm.
and that actually provide us with a solution to this because the Quranists, this is the difference between submitters and the Quranists. The
Hmm.
Quranists make up their own religion on a lot of these subjects, like the mufradat you said. They cannot, not even mufradat on very simple, basic verses. They come up with their own interpretation because they don't have anyone to interpret for them. So that's why we have a messenger which we believe in, Dr. Rashad Khalifa, who gave us an explanation on the Quran. That's why we don't have an issue with that. What do you think about
Um,
that?
okay. So like on one hand, although this is just a personal judgment, you don't have to address this, but on one hand, I find it a bit incredible that you will not accept a hadith that are historically attested to and have been thoroughly verified, but you accept a claimant prophet. So sure, whatever.
We don't
Uh,
believe he was the prophet.
or a
Just
claimant messenger. Sure, sure.
yes.
Okay. What is his source of explaining these mufradat?
His source,
Yeah,
God.
what's his
He got
source?
yeah, he got revelations from Gabriel on how to explain the Quran to us. And he claimed that this translation that we have is an authorized translation. So we do believe that God helped him in thoroughly understanding the Quran and giving us that translation. Now, when we go to the Hadith, we say, they've been thoroughly examined and
Mhm.
properly, investigated. But then when we look into some very simple facts, like how long did the Prophet stay in Mecca for, right?
Right.
And all the sources come back to Ibn Abbas and Aisha. We get three different results. One being that he was there for 15 years, one that he was for 10 years, and one that he was there for 13 years. Now, and all of them are again graded Sahih.
Mhm.
If this was such a great work of history, properly investigated, the hadith sciences and all this, not and everything, why are these hadith giving us different information, contradictory information
Wonderful.
on how long he lived in the Mecca?
Okay. And we just discussed in DMs, but maybe I can mention to the people here that we both accept that a verse of the Quran can have two meanings, right?
Yes, the Quran says that multiple
Okay.
meaning
So
verses.
if something like the Quran, the spoken word of God Himself, can have two meanings, then why can it not be the case for the speech of men to abide by different cultural connotations?
So you believe the difference is in the fact that they're reporting 13 years, 10 years, 13 years, and 15 years is because of the differences in their cultural connotations. Am I
Yeah,
correct in
I
that?
was explaining to them that they had different ways of counting. Some of them, they counted only the years he was within the city itself, which is 10. Some of them counted while he was exiled outside the city, which is 13. And some counted the year he received the Prophet and the year he left, which 13 plus 2 is 15. So
But
it's
what?
different ways that different men counted,
Mm.
but it's the same period. You see, if again, if the verse of the Quran, who came from one God, can have two meanings, why can't different men
Bro,
have
bro,
different
what
ways of
kind of
counting?
logic is that?
Just wait
Hey,
a second. We wanted to
be quiet,
That's
do
be
one
quiet.
that's
by one.
crazy.
It's
What
just a
the?
second. I agreed with him to do one on one. He wants to speak with one person only. If you guys do have a comment for him, you could put it in VC1 dash God willing. I mean, I wanted more people to speak with him too, but he wants to speak one on
I
one.
mean,
That's okay.
sure, but
So,
you get my point, right?
this is interesting. So you're saying that the differences in the how long it's reported he lived in there is because of the difference of the way they were counting
Yeah,
him as in
yeah,
being in Mecca, correct?
correct.
And do you have a source for this? That, for example,
I have
someone
a
like
source in
Ahmad ibn
Arabic, I can
Mani.
send it to you, but as for English, you'd have to look at the books of Sirah, I guess. You can read The Sealed Nectar by Abdurrahman Mubarak Puri.
Do you have any sources now? Even in Arabic, we can have it translated.
Give me a second.
Oh, Jonathan put something here.
Yeah, you
Jonathan,
could
what does
check
it say?
your VC. I sent a sharh of the
Okay,
hadith. That should be the one, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Here's the one I put in the chat for everyone to see. And okay, so well, Jonathan got the explanation for it as well. Uh, okay. It says, what Jonathan put in the chat says, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم نزلت إليه النبوة وهو ابن 40 سنة, right?
Hmm.
So 40 سنة means how many years?
40.
إسراء في 3 سنة. Okay, let me check what this is saying real quick. It says, received the prophet at the age of 40 for 3 years. Israfil was joined with his prophethood and he would teach him words and things, but the Quran had not been yet revealed. When 3 years had passed, Jibril was joined with his prophethood and the Quran was revealed through him over 20 years, 10 in Mecca and 10 in Medina.
Hmm.
He passed away at the age of 40. So what do you think about this?
Okay. Do you understand that in the deen there are things that are qat'i and things that are dhanni? Do you know what these terms mean?
Of course. So qat'i means something that is certain, and something zanni means something that is guesswork. You don't need to
Okay.
use these Arabic phrases.
No, it's they're istilahi words, of course I'm going to use them.
No,
So,
you don't really.
like the verse I mentioned to you in the DMs about tabaq and tabaqa, is this that specific concept? Is that qat'i or dhanni?
That
Mhm.
that would be guesswork.
Pardon?
That would be guesswork. That's not certain, is it?
Yeah. Okay, for those that don't understand what qat'i is something that is certain. That means no one can disagree. Anyone who disagrees is outside the religion. Dhanni is something that one person can have one opinion and another can have the next. I'm asking regarding that word in the Quran. If someone says it's tabaq and a second says tabaqa, is this qat'i or dhanni? Can there be this difference?
Mm. Wait one second. I'm trying to read what this is that you sent me.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh, till he reads, I'll explain the VC what verse I was referring to. The third ayah of Surah Mulk. It says, هو الذي خلق سبع سماوات طباقا. He is the one who created the seven heavens in طباقا. The translation that I think you guys follow says layers, but in Arabic, the word طباقا is actually the plural of two different words. طبق and طبقة. One means layers and one means stages. Layers and
Yeah.
stages are obviously two very different words. My point being, the verse itself, using this plural conjugate, can have two different meanings, both of which are valid. It's just so
Mm.
you guys understand.
Okay, now, okay, so now my question is, even if you say, okay, they had the different ways of counting this, how would you prove even the hadith itself? How would you prove any hadith?
Okay,
Can you prove
so
one hadith for us?
I'm glad we agree that these different details that might seem like supposed contradictions in the text of hadith, they're actually based on different reports and their explanations. I hope we
I
can
do
agree on
have
that
to
much.
check it.
Okay,
I do have to check it further because I still don't know what Ibn
sure.
Abbas actually said. Because if he said, again, if Ibn Abbas said that the Prophet lived there for 10 years, but then
Mhm.
someone changes it because of the way they count it, that still doesn't follow. You know what I mean? So I do have to look further into that, God willing.
I mean,
But
it's a non-Muslim could say the same about the thing I mentioned with the verse. Is it stages or layers? Why is the Quran so vague
that
about this
that doesn't
specific?
matter. But that doesn't contradict any other verse. You see, there's no contradicting information in there. Like, what am I contradict that with?
It's not contradictory, but it's not giving you a meaning in the first place. If it's not telling you what the sky was actually created in, is it layers or stages? It's not giving you a meaning. Someone
I
could
mean, if
say,
it
"Oh
says
wow,
if
look
it's
at this."
layers, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't understand like how that is related to this topic. To be honest with you. Anyway,
Okay.
I want you
Okay,
to
let's talk
actually.
about hadith as a corpus itself, right? Not the specific minute details, but as a corpus itself, yes?
Yeah, no, even one hadith itself. This is a challenge we have. If anyone can prove a single hadith for us beyond reasonable doubt, do you think you can
Okay,
do that?
do you know who what Orientalists are?
Yes, Western scholars that study the religion of Islam. Yep.
Fascinating. And are you aware that these doubts about hadith that you're about to bring are purely Orientalist inventions?
No, they're not purely Orientalist, right?
They're
I
not?
mean, I'm not. Yeah. The Hadith skepticism existed from early on with the Mu'tazilites, but it's certainly becoming more popular nowadays. But I do wonder still, though, like
Mhm.
how we can prove any Hadith, because to us it sounds like
Okay.
hearsay, right?
Okay.
And hearsay doesn't
You guys
stand.
accept prayer, right?
We accept the as-salat, yes.
Okay, and how do you pray?
I pray just like the Prophet was specific in
Okay, and you
V1,
say it's mass transmitted, correct?
of course. It was established on
Okay, and
timetable.
the conforming Arabic Shar'i istilahi term for that is mutawatir, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and are you aware that hundreds of ahadith are mutawatir as well?
Again, we can go over mutawatir hadith, but even in the mutawatir hadith, there's contradictions, right?
That's
And
not that's
the,
that's not my
the-
point. That's not what I'm saying.
no, no,
If
there's
you
a difference.
accept mass transmission, do you accept this mass
No, no,
transmission?
no. There's a
Let it be
difference between the
conflicting, no problem.
transmission. No, no, I'll tell you why, because there's a difference between the transmission of the Salat, which every single Muslim had to do, right? It's one of the pillars of the religion of Islam, and every single Muslim has to do it. That's different than for you to say, okay, these specific individuals and these specific chains were aware of this certain hadith. That's not the same. We're
Wait, why
talking
don't we
about
all pray the same then?
the structure is the same.
No, it's not.
Yes, structure is the same. 5 times a day, 17 rakats, recite the al-Fatah, you do the ruku, you do the sujud. This is actually shows us the overall structure of the salat was preserved. What was not preserved, maybe this specific details on the like atahiyat and stuff like that. All right. So when we talk about mass
That. Mhm.
transmission, brother,
Yeah,
we're comparing mass transmission on a level with millions of Muslims, kids and young people and old people. Every single Muslim is doing it. All right. They're in Persia, they're in Africa, Europe. Everyone is doing it. But with the Hadith, that's not the case. You
it
got
is the
few
case,
select
but
individuals.
continue.
You have Hadith with millions of chains.
Yes.
Which Hadith has millions of chains?
You can open any of the Mawsu'at al-Hadith, starting from the earliest to the latest. You will find hundreds of thousands of chains.
No, in one hadith, right? We're talking about one specific worship practice. We're talking about as-salat. As-salat itself has millions of transmitters. Do you have any hadith that has millions of transmitters? No.
Yes.
Please show me.
For
Just one hadith
any
that has millions
given
of transmitters.
wait, for any given hadith in the six books, between the narrator and the prophet, let's say, yeah, you'll find maybe a dozen or 100 only narrators, but between that to our time, yes, you'll find upwards of 1 million narrators.
I'm talking about the hadith from time of the Prophet until it was compiled, right? Because that's what we're evaluating the
Okay,
sahihness
okay,
of it,
okay.
correct?
So between, so as I just mentioned, for any given hadith, you'll find maybe a dozen or 100 narrators, and the
At
same for
at
prayer, by
best,
the way. The same
that's
for prayer,
mutawatir,
by the
right?
way. The
That's
same
a
for prayer, by the way. The same is the case for the prayer.
No, brother, from time of the Prophet to 200 years later, there's millions of Muslims around the world. The Muslims were controlling the Arabian Peninsula, Turkey, Persia, Northern Africa, parts of Europe. That's millions of people. And every
Okay.
Muslim does the as-salat.
Okay,
All
quick
right?
question for you.
Good question. Go ahead.
If every Muslim did the as-salat, that's grammatically incorrect how you're saying it, but every
Okay.
Muslim did it, why are there differences?
Because in the oral narration, the transmission, you would still see differences. Even on a level that you have millions of people, you would see differences. Let alone in hadith that have 10 to 15 or 20 people at best. So this proves my
So,
point that when we have the most mutawatir practice in the history of mankind, there's no ritualistic practice that is as mutawatir as the salat. And we still see minor differences. What does that prove to me? That means
okay,
that if millions of people could, transmitting it could do this good of a job, that okay, there's minor differences. I'm pretty
okay,
sure,
I heard your point. Okay,
that
listen.
many people would not be able to do as good.
There's an inconsistency though. See? Yeah, there was 1 million in total people that probably prayed, but between each person and the prophet, there was also probably the same amount of dozen or 100 people, right? For any given person that was praying 200 years later, he heard from someone, heard from the prophet. Maybe there's a dozen people in between. And the same was for hadith. Now, let me finish. You are accepting a practice of prayer, even though there's differences in it, and it has a similar amount of narrators, let's say, or people that passed it between the prophet and the person, let's say 100, but you're rejecting hadith, which also have differences, which also have about 100 people in between. So this doesn't make sense. Why are you accepting
Salat
one
is
and not the other?
yeah, yeah, because
Hey, hey,
Salat is
shh.
referenced in the
Samuel,
All right,
Quran.
wait,
Samuel.
wait. Okay, I'm just
Salat
gonna
is
give
referenced in the
Samuel.
Quran.
Navi. Do you want to take my spot and speak with him?
Yeah, yeah, I can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can.
Go ahead,
Yeah, so
Navi.
Salah is referenced in the Quran. These hadith you're
Mhm.
referring to are condemned in the Quran. Right? God says, which hadith other than the Quran do you follow?
Do-
Salah is an established practice in the Quran. We have to do it. So we accept the bare
Okay,
bones minimum
okay,
that's generally accepted by everyone, which is
okay.
started from the time of Abraham.
Quick question.
Okay, what? Yeah,
Do you
what's your question?
understand Arabic?
I understand Quranic Arabic. What's your question?
Okay. Can you repeat what you just said?
I think you say
Are you
he
gonna
understands
speak or what?
Quranic Arabic.
No, I
Yeah.
asked you, can you repeat what you just said?
He doesn't want to engage with me, Sajjad. He doesn't want to have a
No,
debate. But let's talk
no,
about the. Let's talk about the.
I just
Let's
asked you
talk
to
about the
repeat
Muslim.
what you
Let's.
said. Why are you
Yeah.
running?
Let's.
Just repeat what you said.
Okay,
Yeah. What
Repeat
did you say?
what? Yeah, this
Repeat
isn't.
what
We're
you
not
just
here for
said.
games. Yeah, I'm not here to repeat anything. If you want to make your point, make your
No,
point. If
no,
you want to make your point, make your point. I'm not here to repeat
I'm gonna
anything.
make my point.
All right,
Just
so
repeat what you
listen.
just said.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Okay, so you said that there's a verse that said, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and the
Which hadith
translation,
after this do you uphold? Yeah, which hadith after this do you uphold?
what is the meaning of the word hadith?
A narration.
Are you sure that's what it means?
Statement, narration, those
Narrations,
different
narration,
things.
statement, story. Yeah, it's all of these things. What's your point?
Hadith is
Right. So
any sort of articulation. What I'm saying right now is I'm doing hadith with you. I'm any form of speech, anything, written or oral, is hadith. Do you know this?
yeah, so Sajjad, just for the record, he refused to have this discussion on TikTok Live because he didn't want to give us any attention publicly.
Yeah,
That's
I
just for
don't
the
want to
record.
give you
All right.
attention.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's about right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's okay. That's okay. We're recording this debate anyway. So
Okay,
you
yeah,
said we're not
I
going to
don't
record.
want to give you
Definitely, we'll record
attention.
this. All right. So now listen.
Mm.
So we got
Yeah.
the most witness statement of the prophet, right?
Hmm.
What did the prophet say in his most witness statement? There's four versions of it. Right? Version 1, I left for you if you uphold to, you never be misguided, the book of God. Version 2, I left for you if you hold to, you never be misguided, the book of God and my sunnah. Version 3, I left for you if you hold to, you never be misguided, the book of God and my family, the people of the house. So let's not even get into the fourth version. So that's all graded Sahih
Hmm.
between Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abi Dawood, and Tirmidhi, and Ibn Ishaq. Which version is the
Hmm.
one that the Prophet said? There's the most witnesses. Everyone is there, 12,000 companions, all the wives of the Prophet, everyone and their mothers showed up for this. Which version is the right one? Go ahead. Explain it to us.
Can you prove all these occurred at the same time?
Yes, because it's all from the final sermon, the farewell speech of the Prophet.
I'm just gonna open these hadith up. Okay, excellent. Quick question. How were the Khulafa related to the Prophet?
Let's not change the topic. Can you just answer me?
No, that's part of the topic. Answer the question.
Yeah, so I'm asking you a direct question. What
Okay,
is the
and I'm
quote? What is the correct quote attributed to Prophet Muhammad? That's my
okay.
question
Yeah,
to you.
I'm asking you, how are the Khulafa related to the Prophet?
I don't know if they are related.
Oh my God. Okay, so I will tell you. The Khulafa are related to the Prophet. They are part of his family, right? So when the first and third, one of them says the Book of God, the second says the rightly guided caliphs, and the fourth one said family, his family was the Khulafa. Do you understand this?
Yeah, that's irrelevant. I'm asking you if it's all the same quote. What is the quote? What are the words that came out of the Prophet's mouth? Which one is the correct statement?
How is that irrelevant? I'm saying one of them said, sure, he said Khulafa. The second said family, but both of these are the same thing. So do you understand that these are the same thing?
No, they're different words constituting a different sentence, constituting a different statement. So, which is the statement that was uttered
Okay,
out of the Prophet's
okay,
mouth
okay,
during his final
okay,
sermon?
okay. Let me mention what I just mentioned 5 minutes ago regarding the third verse of Surah Mulk. هو الذي خلق سبع سماوات طباقا. Is this جمع of طبق or طبقة?
Bro, why you allowing this guy to obscure the question? Why you
I'm
allow
not
this guy
obscuring at
to
all.
obscure this?
I'm
Bro,
not
why
obscuring
you,
at
Bro,
all.
yeah,
get
seriously,
out
he's
of here
right.
with
Why are
that
you running
Wait, just
around?
calm
nonsense.
down.
Just stop,
Wait,
stop.
let me handle
Evis,
this.
When
stop.
we're
Evis,
asking
stop.
you, we're asking you a straight up question. You
All right,
It's
going with
okay,
these
Evis. It's
terms.
okay. Evis, it's
I'm
okay. It's okay.
just chill,
It's
chill, chill.
okay.
All right,
Evis, it's okay.
yeah,
We're
please just
recording
stay
it.
on
We're
point.
recording it. It's okay.
Let's just stay on
Yeah,
point,
just stay on point.
right?
Just tell me there's different sentences. Just tell me which version is the right one that the Prophet said. You're telling me
Yeah,
12,000
in order
people
for,
couldn't know which one. This destroys all your hadith sciences.
not at all.
In
I know you
one go,
wanna.
all your hadith sciences are destroyed
Okay,
because you had 12,000 people witness and you don't know which is the correct quote attributed to Prophet Muhammad.
buddy, you're preaching to the choir. Relax. Calm down. Calm down.
Oh,
No
you
need for
reject
speeches.
hadith?
There's no need for
Wait,
speeches
you.
here.
What do you mean I'm preaching to the choir? You reject hadith? Don't you
You don't
soundboard
know what the
anybody? Please
phrase
don't
in
use
English
soundboard.
means? Preaching to the choir. Let
Yeah,
me explain.
preaching to the choir means you agree with me. Do you speak
No,
English?
the people listening to you agree with you.
No,
You
no,
don't need to
no,
give
no.
them
I'm
more
talking to
speeches.
you. I'm
Yeah.
talking to you. This
Okay.
is being recorded.
Okay.
And I'm talking to you.
Great.
You
Now
cannot
listen.
prove any of these.
Okay. Listen. Back to the verse I mentioned.
All right,
Is
let's
it
hear the
جمع of
code.
طبق
Go
or
ahead.
طبقة?
Let's hear. No, just give your explanation. Let's hear the code that's being recorded.
Is it جمع of طبق or طبقة? Please answer. See, Sajjad, do you understand why I'm asking this question?
Honestly, it's not important right now.
You understand why I'm asking it though, right?
Not really. I don't know how that's
Okay, then
relevant.
I'll explain. The verse, as I mentioned again, Surah Mulk, the third, and I can give a 1,000 verses as an example for this. In Surah Mulk, the third verse, Allah says He is the one who created the heavens in tabaqa. There's two meanings to this word. One is stages, and one is levels. And throughout history, the Arabs and scholars and whoever disagreed as it stages or levels. Your translation says layers. That's completely an arbitrary choice. My point being, if in the Quran there can be multiple meanings for the same word, why not for a hadith?
Bro, you're doing
Shut up. I'm not talking to you. Stay silent.
Hey, don't tell me to
All
stay
right, all right,
silent,
wait, Evis, I'll
jackass.
talk to him. I'll talk to him, Goblin. I'll talk to him, Goblin. Okay. So
All right?
it's one thing to want to have a difference of understanding or interpretation
Mm,
for a verse that is, the same letters, the same words. It's another thing that in here we have different words for the same statement, right? That's the issue that we're trying to address here. What is it that the prophet said in this context? Did he say, I love for you, what if you hold up, you will never be
okay,
misguided, the book of God? Or is it the book of God in my sunnah? Or is it the book of God and my family and the people of the house,
wonderful.
or the
Wonderful.
other version? That's the issue that
Okay,
we have to address
and the
right now.
answer here is the exact same answer to the previous supposed contradiction you brought up, and will probably be the answer to the next, which is the same statement and speech was heard by different people with different levels of memory and different systems of recall. One person heard and he remembered that the Prophet referred to the Quran and his companions, which were also his family. Some remembered, oh, it was the Quran and his family, which was also the companions. And some remembered it was the Quran and his Sunnah, which is carried by his companions and family. So it's all the same thing, same statement in different words. They are all synonymous. Do you
But they're
understand?
not synonymous. But that's
They
the
are
issue,
synonymous,
right?
though.
They're
They
not
are.
synonymous because if you want us to believe in the supposed
Mhm.
hadith sciences that actually can prove what is it that the prophet said, then I would have to get the same statement
Okay.
out of that one statement. If I say, for example, if I say the same statement, if I only say the book of God and someone later on adds to it and my sunnah, then that's false. If I did say and my sunnah and someone forgets that, then that's false. That's what we're telling you.
Okay. If I say I like cookies, one person hears me and says Akbar said he likes cookies. Another person hears it and he says Akbar likes to eat some sort of sweet thing. Do you understand that both of these statements are correct and true?
Both of those statements are true. However, what is not true is the quote. This is a quotation,
Okay.
right? This is not saying that, oh, we think we've heard this thing from the prophet. What this is this is a quote. If someone quotes me and says that I said I like sweet things, whereas I said I like cookies, then that would be a false statement, no matter how much you want to play with it.
Okay. Do you understand that the first and third statement in that uh, screenshot you sent are not actually contradictory at all? One is actually just a summary of the third. Do you see that?
Which one? The summary of the third.
Okay, the first one says the book of God. The third one says follow my sunnah and the rightly guided caliphs. Do you see that?
But again, this is a quotation, right?
Okay,
This is
yeah.
not what they think. This is a
Oh,
quotation.
sorry, the first and second. One says book of God, one says book of God and my sunnah. Do you see that? Yes?
Yeah, I see that, but again, the issue is these are quotations. I cannot
Yeah,
misquote the prophet. Only one has to
that's
be true.
fine.
If you
But
say,
that doesn't also mean that they have to quote the entirety of what he said. I'm sure
oh, definitely
after
they
he
do.
finished the speech, he probably said more things. Maybe he
Oh
asked someone
no,
for a bottle of water. They
oh
don't have
no,
to remember every single thing
no,
verbatim, do they?
no. Again,
Hmm.
if I say,
Hmm.
for example, if I say,
Yeah.
and again, someone wants to like quote me that in my speech, right? That in
Hmm.
my speech, like they're quoting my speech, and I say, I like cookies, and then someone says, we narrate from Sajjad that Sajjad says, I like cookies and candies. Isn't that false? One of the two statements can be true.
Yeah, but I get that, but I'm saying that's not what's happening here. What's happening here
Literally
is
what's happening.
there's a full statement. One person mentioned part of it, one mentioned part of it, and one mentioned part of it. And
But
a
how do you
lot
know
of
which
these,
one is true though? But
we can tell all of them are true because they
that's
overlap.
not
That's how we
possible.
can tell. If they
That's not
didn't
possible.
overlap, then there would be a problem. But the
No,
fact is that they do.
that's complete false. And again, this is what Christians do, right? They take multiple books that
Hmm.
paint different narratives and to try to put it on top of each other. This doesn't work. Look, one says the book of God in my son, and one says the book of God. If again, I'll give you this though. If it said, if the actual statement was the book of God in my sunnah, you can say, okay, the second one is correct, but then the first one, maybe you can say that's also correct because they might
That's
have missed
exactly what I'm saying.
the
Yeah.
and my sunnah. However, the issue is the fourth and the third would still not be correct
Why?
because it's saying a different thing. It says the book of God, my sunnah, and then the other one says the book of God and my family, the Ahlul Bayt. And then the next one says you must then follow my sunnah and that of the rightly guided
Okay.
caliphs.
Okay. Let's number these things, right? Quran being A, Sunnah being B, rightly guided caliphs being C, and family being D. Okay, A, B, C, D. You following?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are you aware that whether you accept this or not, canonically, the Sahaba used to verify their own hadith with each other after the Prophet's death?
There's no way we
Whether you
can prove
accept this
that.
or not, it's not a problem. This is
No
part of
way
the
we can
canon.
prove that.
Okay? Okay? Do
Yeah.
you
So
understand?
what's
That's
your
part of the
point?
canon.
A, B,
Okay.
C, D. Yeah.
Okay. So, first statement mentions A, second mentions A and B, the third mentions B and C, and the fourth mentions C and D, right?
Yes. Yes.
And as I just mentioned, the Sahaba would sometimes consult with each other on different hadiths. One of them would mention something, and the second one, instead of just repeating what the first said, he would add something extra that he heard from the Prophet. Right? So that's why we see all of them overlap. One says A, one says A and B, one says B and C, and one says C and D. They did not all want to say the same thing to the new Muslims that they were conveying to. So each one added to the knowledge that they heard from the Prophet. And additionally, maybe one was sitting closer to, so he heard more. Maybe someone, because 12,000 people, they didn't have like big speakers. Maybe one was sitting so far that he asked someone near him, what did he say? And they mentioned part of the speech and not the whole of it. So that being said, there's no contradiction here. Realistically,
Yeah.
practically, because they all overlap, they're all viable at the same time.
Okay. Where's the overlap in one and three?
I said overlap between 1 and 2 and 3 and 3 and 4,
Okay, so
right?
here's what you're doing. You're saying there's an overlap between one and two, and then there's an overlap between two and three, and then
Hmm.
there's an overlap with one and four. Therefore, they're all overlap. There's no
Yeah,
overlap between one and three, though, and
that
there's
there
no
doesn't.
overlap between three.
Wait, yes, there is. Yes,
Wait,
there is.
where's the overlap between one and three?
You're looking at just the last sentence. You're forgetting that the
Look at
entire
the whole
beginning
sentence. The
part.
whole
Yeah.
sentence itself is also not the same. It says, I enjoin you to fear Allah, but over there it says, I left for you what if you hold up to.
Hmm.
So even the part that is not green, even that doesn't overlap. Even at least
No.
for the other
Wait,
ones, you
wait, wait, wait,
obviously
wait. There's
say they
something
overlap.
dishonesty going on here.
What is this on that's going on?
That's not the full hadith in the third one.
Third one. Okay, let's bring the full hadith for the third one.
Sure.
Please bring it.
Okay, the full hadith, as I remember it, because I've memorized this hadith as well, is that I'll read it from Jami' al-Tirmidhi. One morning after the prayer, and note the wording, it says after the morning salat, which means it wasn't during his final speech. This is a completely different incident. It said that the Prophet gave us a very beautiful exhortation to the point where we were crying. Okay? So it's mentioning that he gave a different speech, but didn't mention what he said in that speech. Then after the end, they asked him for extra advice, to which he said this statement. Are you following?
Yeah.
So this third statement, it's saying there was a speech prior to it, and it said it occurred on a separate morning. So even if we say it was at the same time, it said there was a speech prior, but he didn't mention what it was. So we can easily say it was any of these other statements. And then he said afterwards, we asked him a statement to which he said this. So there's no contradiction here. You guys have selectively quoted it to make it contradict when the narrator himself is saying this is a separate incident.
Please bring that? We need to
Sure.
verify this.
Sure, I'll post in the VC chat. It's of Tirmidhi 2676. All right. One
Please,
day after the morning salat, the Prophet exhorted us to an extent where we wept our eyes and our hearts shuddered. He doesn't say what he exhorted. He doesn't mention what the speech was. And then a man said, "This is a farewell exhortation." So the man was like, "This seems like your final speech." It doesn't say it was though. Is that a man thought it was? Then after that speech, which they thought was farewell, then they asked the Prophet for an additional statement, to which he said this statement. So this is a different incident. You
wait, let
guys
me
are
read it.
bringing it where? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So it says one day after the morning salah, the Messenger of Allah exhorted us to the extent that the eyes wept and the hearts shuddered with fear. The man said, "Indeed, this is a farewell exhortation. So what do you order us, O Messenger of Allah?" He said, "I order you to have taqwa of Allah." And then this is the same incident.
No, it's not. But
This is the
continue.
farewell. This is the farewell exhortation.
Continue. Continue. Continue.
And I ordered you to have taqwa of Allah and to listen and obey, even in the case, even in the case of an Ethiopian slave. Indeed, whomever among you lives, you will see much difference. Beware of the newly invented matters, for indeed they are astray. Whoever among you sees that, then he must stick to my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided khulafa. Cling to it with the molars. Yeah, I mean, this is the farewell speech. This is a farewell exhortation.
This is a man saying it because that's what he thought. It's not what it says. And in the Arabic, relax, it said, where is this? إن هذه موعظة مودع. These the word مودع here, I'll send the Arabic in the chat as well. Here, and I'll underline where he says, okay, I underline where it says إن هذه موعظة مودع. Short grammar lesson. The word muwadda is a adjective, and over here without the alif lam, it is indefinite, which means he's not saying this is the farewell exhortation. He was saying this seems like your final speech. He was describing its.
So what does it say inna? So what does it say indeed?
That doesn't make it definite.
Why not?
What do you mean? Why not? That's you.
If I say indeed there's
Wait, what?
something,
Wait,
then
are you
that would mean I'm
inventing
certain
grammar
about it.
rules? Inna does not make anything definite. You look through any of the Nahu books. Inna is for ta'keed. It's not to make something from
Okay.
definite to.
Okay, so if he's doing ta'keed, right? If he's
Mm,
emphasizing it, you think
yeah.
there's nothing important, just thinking it.
No, it's important that you should know it, But the fact that muwaddi' here is without alif lam means it's indefinite, which means he was not saying this is the farewell speech. That is not what he's saying at all. This is from the Arabic itself. He's saying this seems like a farewell, which means there could have been others. In fact, it necessarily implies that there were other farewell speeches.
Okay.
Do
All
you
right.
see that that's
So
the
I
blatant
wanna.
implication? Do you see
Yeah.
that?
Okay. So you're
Okay, good.
saying that this is the person's point of view of what
Correct.
the farewell speech is, but it's not. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. I'm saying this is a separate incident. In fact, if you look in the books of Sirah, you'll find that this is a separate incident.
Wait a second. All right. Okay. So
Mhm.
if you say that even the third one is a
Mhm.
separate incident, that would still
Okay.
leave us with one, two, and four. All right.
Okay. Where is
So
this
now,
again?
yeah,
I'm just gonna copy and send it again because these guys are spamming too much in chat. I can't keep
no,
up.
I already put
Okay,
it there.
thank you. So, where was it?
All right, let's say the third one is a separate incident, right?
Okay,
But again, I do have to
wonderful.
check with the other hadith, see if
Okay.
that's actually the case and that that's
Mhm.
a narrative that they're all painting.
Okay. And a quick point here, the second one where it says Ibn Ishaq as quoted in Sirah Nabawiyah. Sirah Nabawiyah is a masdar that is tarihi. It is not musnid, which means that it is something that is based on historical attributions and it is not based on chain of narration.
So you
That
don't
would be
accept the sirah?
no, it is read for historical context. There's
I
not a
understand.
single letter from
Mm.
Ibn Ishaq's Sirah that is used for rulings or beliefs or any of that stuff. It is
Yeah,
purely
I mean,
historical context.
if you're using it for Sharia, then we're gonna use it in here, don't
No,
you?
but I'm saying historical narrations are not used for
I know.
Sharia at
I
all.
do.
Okay.
Wait, what? You don't accept sirahs for Sharia?
Okay, so in Sirah, there's the Musnad part and there's the Tarihi part. The Tarihi part is any of the poems and nasheeds and stories and stuff. Some of them have no chains of narrations, but they're mentioned. They could be true or they could not be true. Like maybe you've heard this popular one, طلع البدر علينا. Maybe you've heard it or not. This actually has no chain of narration, but it is said by some of the scholars that, when the Prophet entered Medina, they sang this song for him. So we accept it as maybe it happened, but we don't say that this makes it sunnah to sing songs, right? So the things that have a chain, we use that for Sharia. The things that don't have a chain, we say maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. It's just a nice story. That's really what it is.
Okay,
Okay?
so
Clear?
are you saying that the second one is actually not correct?
I'm saying the second one is a historical narration, meaning that where it agrees with the things that have a chain of narration, that part is true. Where it doesn't agree, that is just purely, it could be or could not be.
All right, so I don't understand. So are you accepting it or no? Do you think this is something that the
I'm saying
Prophet said or
two
no?
different uses.
What does that even mean? Like, did the Prophet say this? Do you believe he said it or no? Do you believe the Prophet said this or no? The second statement. Well, I think his mic went out.
No, my mic is
Oh,
right here. I was
okay.
trying to think of a relevant example.
But
Okay.
no, it's just
No,
whether
no,
you
no, wait,
accept
wait.
this or not, right? Because want to get to the bottom of this contradiction in here.
Okay, that's not a contradiction at all. I'm saying there's different levels of acceptance. There's one acceptance where we say he did this, so we must do this. And there's another level of acceptance that say he may have done this, so this is good context.
But okay, so when we go to 5328,
Mhm.
says they had no knowledge about this, they only conjectured. Conjecture is no substitute for the truth, right? It says in yattabu'una illa dhanna, right? وَإِنَّ الظَّنَّ لَا يُغْنِي مِنَ الْحَقِّ شَيْئًا. So this is then, right? This is
Mm.
guesswork. You just said it right now. Whether it is true or not, you're
Yeah,
not
and
sure.
we're not, okay, the verse you just said, إِن يَتَّبِعُونَ إِلَّا الظَّنَّ, I'm saying we do not do ittiba'. What does ittiba' mean? Ittiba' means to replicate something or follow in its footsteps. I am clearly saying we don't act upon this. I am clearly saying we don't do ittiba of the dhann. I
Okay.
am very much in line with this verse.
So you don't accept the second one. You believe it's not authentic. This is the van,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we can say we don't believe it's authentic. That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
Well, you do believe so this is funny. You worked your way out of the number 2 and 3. So 1 and 4, you do
Whoa,
believe
whoa,
there's
whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't work my way out of anything. Three was a plain misquotation, different incident. And second one is a historical source. What I'm left with is the first one that says the book of God, and the second that says book of God and my family, right?
So no, the third one
And this
you
is the
were
play
no, no, no,
very obvious overlap
no.
between the
Third
first
one,
and fourth.
no, wait. Third one, you presented your point of view, and
Okay.
the hadith itself believes is actually it is the farewell speech. You just said I don't think that this man is sure about it, right? And again, I have to
And
check
he
that out.
himself, no, the wording itself says that. And by the way, the fact that I said فَقَالَ رَجُلٌ, it doesn't mention who the man was, what his name was, clearly means that this man's opinion did not have much importance. It didn't say certain Sahabi or Abu Bakr or Umar. It just said قَالَ رَجُلٌ, some unknown man said this seems like a farewell speech. And he said it in indefinite terms. So it's an unknown man, and he himself was not sure of what he's saying.
I don't think there's any uncertainty. It says indeed this is a farewell speech, right? إن هذه موضعة
You added the word the here. It does not mention the. It does not mention alif lam.
yeah, I
Try
know.
it again.
It's okay. So the person's point of view still is it is a farewell speech, but
Yeah,
I
but
know
this
what
is
you're
a
saying.
random
You're saying
guy.
that
This is not the prophet. This is
I
not the
know,
narrator saying it.
I
This is a
understand.
random guy.
I understand. I do. Okay, I do have to check
Okay,
with the other hadiths
okay,
because
wonderful.
it's also in Ibn Majah and Abu Dawud. But okay. So like I said, you work your way out of 2 and 3, 1 and 4 that's still
Hmm.
remaining.
And you
We're
see the
saying that
overlap
okay,
in 1 and 4?
but there's a part that is not overlapping. That's the Ahlul Bayt, and do you reject that?
No. Why would I reject that?
So you think it's both or what? What is it? What is the quote of the
As I
Prophet?
just said, very realistically, one person may have been sitting closer. He heard more of what he said. One person and 12,000 people may have been sitting further, heard just the Book of God part.
Well,
No
here's
problem.
the thing though. You said
This.
may, and that's again, that's
Mhm.
then, that's conjecture. You're not
Okay.
sure about this whole thing.
Do these two statements contradict?
They're not the same. That's what I can tell
Do
you.
they contradict though?
I think so. Yeah, because they're giving me different quotes of the Prophet. Look,
Peace be upon you guys.
PC, do you want to take over AAA?
So, brother, can you give me some context?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we're
So we're
talking
talking
about
about hadith.
I'll give him context. I'll give him so we're talking about the 4 different hadith on the farewell speech, and he worked his way out of 2 and 3. For 2, he said that is the sira. It's like a historical source, and I don't think it's authentic. Third one, he said that he brought the hadith itself in a bigger context, and said this was like from the person's point of view, which is an unknown man, that this is a farewell speech, not that it is a farewell speech. So that's what he did for 2 and 3, and then for 1 and 4, we're trying to establish whether there's a contradiction or not. Obviously, he disagrees.
Wait, so I just want to confirm the Sira is more unreliable than the Hadith Bukhari authenticated, right? I mean, you just said it's historically unreliable, right? So you're basically saying the Sira is lesser in terms of accuracy
Whoa,
compared to Bukhari,
wait.
right?
Not the Sirah. Sirah ibn Ishaq, two different things.
Oh, so can you explain the differences in Sira just so that I understand and the crowd understands?
Okay. Sirah ibn Ishaq is a book that Ibn Ishaq compiled based on the knowledge that he had at his time. The Sirah is a category of Islamic knowledge. Two different things. There's Sirah according to al-Dhahabi and Maghazi of Ibn Uqba, and the Sirah I mentioned called Sealed Nectar of Mubarak Puri. There's many different books under the broad category of Sirah. Each book has its different levels of variation and authenticity.
Okay, so I would like to. I mean, the religion is an exact thing that should be known, right? So if it's,
Is it?
yeah, it should
Is it?
be.
Is
Is
it?
it not?
Oh my God! Now I have to give the same example 3 times.
Whoa, no. Time out. Just. I just
Okay.
joined in, man. So
Okay.
let's just be clear. Let me. I'm going to ask you something. The
Mhm.
religion itself Is it known and exact?
Okay, great question. Great question. I will give you the same exact answer I gave the last two. In Surah Mulk, and I can give 1,000 more verses of examples like this. It says, وَالَّذِي خَلَقَ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ طِبَاقًا, that Allah is the one who created the sky in طِبَاقًا. And the word طِبَاقًا has two different, it's a plural word that has two different singular forms. One is tabaq and one is tabaqa. And both of these are part of the word. If you say it must be exact, I'm asking you, tell me, is it tabaq or tabaqa? Tell me right now.
No,
That's
no, no.
wrong. That is wrong. Tabaq is
Mhm.
the plural of tabaq is atbaq,
Mhm.
and the plural of tabaqa, which is the layer, is tibaqa.
يلا روح
So
للمعادن.
there,
Go see,
no, those,
go look
yes,
this
I
up.
did.
يلا.
I did check. I just checked, and
Yeah.
I verified my information.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Akbar, Akbar, let's first off, do not be disrespectful to her. All right,
Why?
please.
Wait, why?
Why not be disrespectful to her?
Is that,
Why not be disrespectful to her?
Akbar,
I
Akbar,
mean,
please.
if she interrupted, she can't demand
Well, no,
respect as well. It doesn't make sense.
She's an
it's
Arabic
open platform.
speaker.
She's an Arabic
I
speaker. She's better than a lot of
corrected
us.
you. I corrected you. I did not interrupt.
Yeah,
I
and
corrected you.
you're wrong.
You're not telling the truth. You're not.
It's
You're
okay,
not telling
Akbar,
the truth.
she speaks Arabic and we get help from her because you wanted an
She
Arabic
speaks it
speaker.
wrong here. Check in VC chat here. The plural of tabaq is also tabaqa. Sorry, it's also tibaq. And same with tabaqa, it's also tibaqa. It's the same thing.
No, it's
Two
not the
different
same.
words
No,
conjugate to
no,
the
no,
same
no.
thing.
The plural of tabaq is atbaq, and the plural of tabaqa is tibaqa, and they're two different meanings.
Yeah,
Check
look,
VC chat. Tabaq conjugates to tibaq
yeah,
as well, both.
I see you
Anyway,
underlining
this
things.
is
Does not make it
pointless.
right or
What you're
wrong.
talking about.
I want to Triple A. His whole point, like I already discussed this with him. His whole point is that the word in the Quran can have different meanings.
Yeah, that was not my
That's why
point.
he's saying that the Hadith can have different meanings too. That's his point.
Yeah, so that was
Wonderful.
not
Thank you
my
very much.
point. My point is the religion is exact, right?
How is
The
it
religion. So,
exact if
for
there's
example,
multiple interpretations?
whoa, I said the religion. All right, God has given verses. It can have different meanings, of course, right?
Mhm.
But we're talking about for Salah, it should be an exact procedure.
Should it?
Yes or no?
Should it?
I think so. Is it a ritual
Why?
with steps?
Does it
Yeah,
have to be exact?
yeah. I mean, he says that religion, the Salah is taught. Is it taught, or can I do jumping jacks in my Salah?
You tell me.
I'm asking you. I have the
Okay.
stance that it is a
Okay.
specified ritual that is taught. All right. Is your
Wonderful.
stance that you can innovate whatever you want in your Salah?
No, whatever you want.
Okay, so so
okay.
then there is a determination of what the Salah is. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, alhamdulillah. All right. This takes us out of the realm of making up whatever you want.
Wonderful.
Good, but it needs to be known what it is. Yes or no?
Right. Yes.
All right, very good. All right. Now let me ask you:
Mhm.
do we know exactly what Salah is?
We know Salah just as much as we know this verse that I just quoted to you.
Are you telling me Salah? So we know the verse exactly. What it means can change. Are you telling me that the Salah can change?
We know Salah as a concept to be exact and its timings to be exact. As for its performance and its minute details, they differ just as the minute details of this word in the Quran.
So are you saying that I can, the minute details change, are you saying that I can elongate my Salah to however long I want it to be? Is that a thing, or is it limited in terms of length?
There's, as long as it's within the fixed periods of time within the day, pray as long as you want, no problem. Why would that be a problem?
No, because from my understanding, all right, that the Salah has a series of steps, right? Are you saying that I can just add any number of surahs after the Fatiha, for example?
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what we
can
believe. Yes.
repeat the Quran if I speak fast enough. I can recite from the Fatiha all the way to the 114th chapter, and then redo it all over again, as long as it's within the time frame of the within the window.
Yeah, that's what we believe. That's canonically what we believe.
Yeah. So this is my issue with this, right? This like you. If I look in the Hadiths, right,
Yeah.
he says he taught the Salah like he taught the Quran, right? And in all these Hadiths, he doesn't mention that he has alternative methods to Salah.
This is not an alternative method.
No, no. So, for example, there's 4 different attahiyats. I've gone through different Sahih hadiths, right? Showcasing
Right.
multiple attahiyats. And each one, he
Yeah.
says, I taught this like I taught the Quran. And on each one, he fails to mention that he taught multiple methods, right? So let me ask you, did Muhammad have multiple attahiyats?
You should add sallallahu alayhi wasallam when you mention the Prophet's name.
I
But
think it's shirk to do that, but yeah, go on.
oh wait, never mind. I forgot you're not Muslim.
I'm a submitter.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sure. Sorry, what did you say again before you?
Yeah, did Muhammad pray with different attahiyats?
Within the salah, just as with everything else, there are things that are qat'i and dhanni. Do you know what these words mean?
No, please explain.
Okay, there are things that are certain and things that can be differed upon. There's room for multiple interpretations, just as with the Quran, just as certain words
Can you
can have
translate
multiple.
Zon? I think it's important. Can you translate Zon verbatim?
Sure, one
Yeah,
second.
the word zan, it's frequently used in the Quran. What does it mean again?
Conjecture, guesswork. Okay, what happened? Continue.
It means interpretation.
Zan means interpretation.
Yeah, that's about right. That's within the scope of the meaning.
So can you give me a verse that uses zan where it means interpretation, or is this a meaning of zan outside of the Quran?
That's the meaning of it as a word, yes.
No, but zan is used in the Quran multiple times. Is there a verse that uses the zan in the way you just described as interpretation?
Okay, in the verse it said إن يتبعون إلا الظن وبتشديد الضاد, which means it is something that is definite. Do you understand the difference between something that's definite and something that is nakira?
Brother, just give me the verse. I'll look it up. Yeah,
You're
you don't need
asking
to.
for something specific, but when I get into the specific meanings of something, you're saying,
Yeah,
no, I want
brother, I
something else.
asked for a verse.
You
I asked
can't
for
pull
a
both
verse.
cards.
No, I asked
Okay,
for a
great.
verse that used zan in the way you just said, interpretation.
Yeah,
So
and
just
I'm
give me the
telling you.
chapter and verse. I'll go look it up
Okay,
myself without
great.
you trying to tailor my view.
Great. I'm telling you the word of dhanni with
No,
does not.
brother, I asked for a chapter and verse. I don't need you to explain anything at this point.
Great.
Chapter and verse.
I'm telling the word does not exist in the Quran.
No, the word zan, that one I'm asking about, is in the Quran.
Yeah, dhan and dhanni are two different words with
Yeah,
different
okay.
meanings.
So I
I'm
asked
sorry you
for
don't understand Arabic, but
the
so I'm
one
explaining it to you.
that I asked for is in the Quran. I asked you for its meaning. You said interpretation. All right. So out of all the instances that it exists in the Quran, which verse has it mean interpretation? And just give me the chapter and the verse. I'll look it
The
up.
word dhan in the form of nakira does not occur in the Quran. Do you
Okay.
understand what I'm saying?
Very good. So now when I brought up the word zan, I'm
Mhm.
asking in reference to how God used it in the Quran. What does it
He
mean?
didn't use it, is what I'm saying.
Chapter 6, verse 16. It's not used.
No. I
Let me
just
just
explained.
116. It's
Okay.
in the chat. 116.
Okay, yeah. Please read it.
done, right? It's
Oh
the
my
fifth
God.
word from the end. You want me to circle it for you?
Okay.
Here, I'm going to
Sure,
circle it for you.
please circle it. Please do.
Yeah, here, let me just circle it for you.
Okay. I didn't want to do ABCDs today, but let's do it. Please send it in the chat.
Brother, it
Come
just
on.
seems like you're the one who needs
Okay, yeah.
to be
Okay,
taught
good
ABC.
job. Now, can you count out the letters in that word from beginning to end?
I'm seeing 4 letters.
Okay, what are they?
Alif, Lam, Dal, and Noon.
Okay, it's Alif, Lam, Vad, and Nun. But okay,
Yeah.
4 letters, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to pronounce a word to you right now. Dhan. How many letters do you hear?
Sounded like 2 to me.
Wonderful. Do you see that the one you circled has 4 and the one I just said has 2?
Yeah, so what do you think Alif and Lam are?
No. Wonderful.
Can
Good
this word?
job.
Yeah.
Everyone clap for him in the chat. Okay, Alif
Akber,
and
if you're gonna
Lam.
be condescending, we don't need to keep talking, man.
Okay.
You already know what word I'm talking
Okay.
about, and the people know
Yeah,
what Alif and Lam are in the Quran. All right, the
they
people here
clearly
on
don't.
Because
school,
he's getting
So,
cornered, so he's putting on
he's
his
getting
slime
cornered very
suit, bro.
badly. So tell me, show me where
yeah,
the word
I said
zan or
multiple people.
ezan means interpretation or the interpretation in the Quran, because I'm getting tired of this business
No,
here.
Two
You got to keep
different words.
waffling. Yeah,
Okay,
brother.
good.
Again,
good.
tell me. Show me
Okay.
where it means interpretation in the Quran. You knew what word
Okay.
I was talking about.
Yeah,
So don't
and
act stupid. I know
no,
you know.
you said dhan without the alif lam. Dhan without the alif lam
Yeah,
can mean
you
interpretation.
know
When
Arabic,
the
fine.
alif lam is attached, it becomes definite. When it becomes definite, its ma'na
It's still the
becomes
same meaning.
mabni
Yo,
upon the no no
this
no no
is
no.
literally
This
this
is
is
still,
literally all
it's
the
Stop
still the
cutting me off.
same
Sunnis have,
meaning.
Listen,
bro.
You think we don't
It's
know
okay.
Arabic?
It's okay.
We
It's
know
okay.
what
It's
we're
Everyone calm
doing.
okay.
down.
One
Everyone
at a
calm down.
time.
Everyone just calm
One at a
down.
time.
why
One
are
at
you
a
Look
time.
at
interrupting?
Guys,
you
wait,
can talk
guys,
and
guys.
Evan can talk.
Can I just point out an observation? I've been listening for the past little while. This is the typical thing Sunnis do, is when they can't really formulate an argument, they just try to mock, ridicule, and then dance around Arabic. That's all they do. They can't actually
Okay,
formulate an argument.
okay. Listen, too many of you are talking at the same time. I swear I said
That was
one
literally
person
just
right
me
now.
talking.
Please stay silent. All of
No,
you,
Yeah,
stay
again, what
silent.
I'm pointing out is that you're not actually making any
Stay
arguments. You're
silent.
just
Stay silent.
all you're
Stay
really
silent.
doing, my friend.
All right,
All
guys.
all
So
this
we
like
agreed when
that.
he
Yeah.
came. We agreed we're gonna do one-on-ones. He did
Okay.
not want to talk to multiple people at
it's
once.
okay. Fine,
Dude,
fine. Here,
either
I'm gonna
dude,
pretend.
okay, because I
No,
talk with him,
here,
Navi talk
listen.
with him. Either AAA, or dude, or equalizer. Whoever wants to go, just one of you go. Because if multiple people come, he didn't agree to that.
Brother Sajjad, it's hard to tolerate the nonsense that he
I
spews, so I don't
understand.
blame them for interrupting. Right?
It's
I
okay.
understand.
Just
Look, it's okay. I'm gonna pretend. Look, I'm gonna
Can I
pretend I'm
just
an
give a
idiot.
2-second commentary? Just like, look,
Yeah,
he's
go.
saying that the assumption and assumption, oh, they're two totally different things. Like the book and the book, oh yeah, it's totally different. Like, it's a joke.
Yeah, brother.
You can't help but people chime in on that.
It's very it is very
Okay.
dishonest and disingenuous.
Okay.
But you know what?
Okay. All of you.
I'm gonna play dumb. I'm gonna go with you.
Okay.
Let's go along
Good.
with what you're
Good.
saying.
Good.
They're two
I'm
different
s-
things. All right.
I'm
So Alif
sorry.
Lam Zan.
Okay. Okay.
Let's go Alif Lam
Mm.
Zan. All right. What does this mean?
Okay. I'm sorry. None of you know Arabic, so you find this silly. And
Yeah,
another
yeah.
thing, if
Okay.
I
Well,
get
none of us know
shut
Arabic.
up.
Just answer
Shut
the
up. Let me
question.
speak.
Whoa! Don't
Listen.
say shut up.
Please
Don't
shut
say
up.
shut up.
Listen. If I get
No.
interrupted one more time, I'm just gonna assume that you guys have actually nothing to do except bark, and I'm going to leave. Okay?
You know
All
what?
right,
Please.
guys, chill. Everyone, chill.
Okay.
No
Good.
interruption.
No,
I'm gonna.
Sajjad, brother. This guy is dishonest. The guy is arguing with Alif and Lam, the
Okay.
definite
Now let me
article.
This is
explain.
a joke. This is a
It is a
Okay.
joke.
joke.
Okay.
yeah. So hold
Shut up.
on. So can we move on to your shahada? Why you have a fake
Like an
shahada?
actual topic, it's of Alif Lam and then it's
I
Yeah. I
swear
mean,
I
you
just
you
said
keep
if I get in.
you
Wallahi,
keep
stop
getting into
barking.
lame
Naveed,
topics. Yeah.
okay,
shut
You
up.
okay.
know. Yeah.
Shut the hell up.
Stop talking
Naveed,
like
shut
this.
the hell
No,
up.
bro.
All
I'm
right,
gonna throw
everyone,
you
Shut
in
the hell
jail
up.
right now. I'm gonna
go,
throw you in
go.
jail. I'm gonna
Akbar.
throw you in jail like a
Oh,
dog.
why
Wow,
are
I'm
these
so
Sunnis
Yeah.
so
scared.
weak
Chill.
and
Wow, you're
pathetic,
just
Chill.
for
bro?
jail.
Here.
They
Wow.
just waffle. Oh, please
Okay,
don't
you
gang
know
up
what?
on me.
All right,
All right.
Oh no!
Get this
hold on.
It
All
guy
right,
is
in
so
brutal
can we talk
All right, this is
about?
not
disrespectful. The
gonna
whole
work.
Hold on,
Let's
hold
thing.
on,
go.
Elham, hold
Let
on.
AAA, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna ask AAA just to talk. Okay, please.
Okay.
God
Let
bless
me
you.
Just
finish
hit
my
him
point.
hard. Triple A, just hit him hard.
Okay, let me finish my point. Okay. Al, when it's attached to a word, that makes it definite. When it's definite, it becomes the ma'na, becomes mabni on the context. That means that it cannot have a meaning except something that fits the context. And what fits the context in this specific verse is assumption. But when the alif lam is not there, that means dhan can actually take on a multiple meanings, which is why interpretation fits the meaning. I'm sorry this doesn't make sense to you
All
because
right,
you don't know Arabic. So yeah.
I understand. I'm about to move to a new topic, but I want to point out that when I asked you about Zan, you said it
Mhm.
means interpretation, right? But
Because you
as
said it
you
was
know,
alif lam. So
yeah,
my
I understand.
answer
I
is
understand.
truthful.
I understand. But also, just curious,
Mhm,
in the context of the Quran,
mhm,
Zan, what does it mean?
mhm. Assumption, let's say.
Assumption. I'm curious why when we're talking about religion, and I ask you about a specific word, so because I know the word
Mhm,
Zan without Alif Lam can also mean assumption. Right? It can also mean that, right? So
mhm.
I'm curious, when I asked you about Dhan, why did you choose interpretation when everywhere in the Quran, when God uses it with the alif lam, with the definite article, it means assumption. I find it strange you chose interpretation to be the word you go to when we're talking about religion and the word of God. Usually I would prioritize what God usually referenced it as.
It's two
I find
different
it
words.
strange
I'm
you picked
sorry you don't
interpretation.
understand that. It's two
No,
different
I
words.
understand. I just find weird that you shifted towards that specific meaning that is never used in the Quran.
It's two
Because
different words.
brother, just FYI, the word dhan without the alif lam can also mean assumption.
Two different words. What?
Can
What?
well, are you saying without alif lam The word
All
the
right.
does not mean
What
assumption.
is Triple A? Ask him what the assumption is in 6116. And if God is referring to a definite noun, the assumption,
I
what
just
is?
answered that. And I swear, just stop interrupting. Wallah, you guys cannot stop barking. I'm out of here.
He got
He
caught.
Oh,
fled.
he left. He left.
He fled,
Come on,
bro. What a
Triple A,
clown.
Triple
What a
A. Why?
Bro,
I
loser,
wanted,
We
bro.
have this
Triple A.
on
I
Guys,
camera,
wanted to
guys,
get
right?
him on
Oh,
the
guys,
you guys
guys,
gonna
shahada.
stop barking.
guys.
Oh,
I
all
worked
Hold
here.
right.
on,
I
hold
had
on,
to.
Hold
I
on.
Brother
had
We're
to
Naveed,
work
you
recording.
blame
Hold
me,
hard on
on.
this to
brother.
bring him. Guys, I had
You,
to work hard on this guy to bring him here, and this is
I'm,
not right. Like, we
Bro,
put him in
No,
working,
no, no,
then
no. Hold on a second, Stajad.
no,
Hold
no,
on a second.
okay.
These
hold
guys
on.
come in here. They talk
That's
however
fine.
the heck they
Yeah,
want. They're
that's
mad.
fine. We're
No,
recording
but
him. That's
it's
fine. We're
back and
recording
forth.
him.
I know.
Yeah, we're
I feel
recording him.
bad,
We're
brothers.
recording him. We
I'm
recorded
sorry.
him. We set up the ground rules. We wanted to hit topics. And if he sounds like an idiot, then he'll be on record. That's fine.
God
Just
forgive me. I'm sorry, brother Naveed, brother Sajjad. I
I
ruined your
asked you.
plan.
I said, please. We messaged you like 20
I
times.
know,
You
brother.
moved
I'm
the
so sorry.
topics. We just wanted to get him on record being
I know,
stumped
brother.
on various important topics, and you're insisting on Aleph Lam and this nonsense.
Brother,
Right? Just get out
honest,
of that.
honest to God, that is still gold. That is still
Yeah.
gold. Come on.
No,
The
because some
guy,
people
the
might
guy, the
buy
guy's
into it.
bragging
It's
about
not as
Arabic
blatant.
supremacy,
I
and he can't get.
understand.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
saying you lost. I'm not saying you lost the debate. I'm just saying it's not as blatant for our viewers, right?
I
I'm
apologize.
saying, yeah, I'm saying get them on the Shahada, get them on the slot, get them on dietary law. There's so much content.
I
We're
didn't think
gonna
I was going
piss,
that hard, brother. I didn't think I was going
bro.
that hard.
No, you weren't
Yeah,
going that hard, but everybody else just needed to not chime in, honestly.
agreed,
I
agreed.
wanted to say
Bro, my
something
skin
many
was
You
times,
don't think?
crawling,
but
man.
I
This
just
guy
bit my
was.
tongue. Yeah, but sometimes if we just want to
Yeah.
like
No.
get something accomplished, sometimes we just have
Yeah.
to let one person lead.
Can I can
I'm
I
I
sorry.
agree.
can I give a suggestion? Because I was here from the beginning when it came.
Go
Can
ahead,
I give
brother
a
Evans.
suggestion?
Go
Yeah.
ahead, brother. Go.
Whoever is moderating here, he has to stop like the cursing and like the attitude of these guys. Has to tell them at least, hey, please don't attack the people. Maybe perhaps we should use the best example. And just advise
Bro,
them in that sense.
I had
I
already
did that.
jailed
We
Look,
him.
can't
see
do.
what happened?
I had already jailed him because of his
Yeah,
behavior.
we
Sajid got him
already
out for
did
this
that.
That's
specific.
And look,
fine. That's fine. What I'm saying, once you moderate a debate between two people, you have to tell the other
We didn't
person
have a
also, like
moderator.
to,
We didn't have a moderator.
I
no,
know,
but
but next
Sajjad is
time,
Bro, I
moderating.
just
We can't,
look,
we can't, we can't insult
listen,
him.
Evers. Listen, Evers. He did everything he could to get into the weeds to look legitimate. And I
yeah, he
kept
will
trying
get
to
to like
push it,
Yes.
the actual
stupid details.
topics,
Exactly.
right? And
Yeah,
you're saying this is 3 letters, this is 2 letters. This is all useless, right? I'm saying get to Shahada, get to the entire corpus of Hadith, get to dietary law, get to, you know what I mean, our heavy hitting topics.
Bro,
I don't
this is
want to get
exactly
stuck down
what
in nonsense.
Sunnis do, bro. This is
I
exactly what
know,
Sunnis do. They
I
get
know, but
into little things. What does this word mean? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. Like, this is
I
stupid
understand. I
nonsense,
know it
bro.
was
I
dumb, but
agree with
brother,
you. I
but
agree with
brother,
you guys. But please,
yeah.
we wanted to keep him here. Like, look, we had like 30 people. We were actually
I'm
recording
so
the users
sorry,
on
guys. I'm
Facebook.
so sorry.
No. You didn't do anything wrong. And again, I don't think any of you did anything wrong. Because at first, when he came and was talking to me, he asked me. No one else comes in the debate. He doesn't like interruption for whatever reason. Doesn't like to talk to multiple. And that he has his reasonings. And I had a good conversation. Navid has a good conversation. Triple I had a good conversation. Next time, if we get him, please let's just all be quiet. One on one. I can talk and then pass it to Navid and then
Believe me,
Triple
I
A and
had plenty to
dude.
say. I wasn't quiet just
Yeah,
because I had nothing to say. I had plenty to say, but I just let Satchel or Triple A talk.
yeah. And it's a good thing because this guy is famous. We can use these clips on TikTok, YouTube, and you guys also learn. The next time let's be more accommodating.
Wait, I didn't know he's famous.
Yeah, he is. He is.
I didn't know that. I would have used.
I, I,
I would have moved to the next topic. I would
Bro,
have
he
put.
has
told
dude, he
you.
has
I
like
literally told you.
Yeah, no, no.
250,000.
I know you guys were recording, but I didn't know this guy has
No,
like
I
Please,
thousands
told
of
you.
viewers.
I told
No,
you. This guy's like
no,
300,000 followers. He's one of the
just
top
FYI,
20
brother.
TikTokers.
I'm super
Bro,
busy. I only
he
saw
he
your
can
text.
he cannot he can have 25 million people following him, but he cannot come here and act like he owns this
yeah, that's
and
That's
right.
call people
fine.
But
call people shut up, you stupid, I don't want to
yeah,
talk to you,
but
all these kind of things.
Yeah,
You cannot
No,
do
I,
that.
I think I think
No
he
one
felt
agree.
can
awkward.
do that.
Guys, I know it sounds weird, but I think he felt awkward because he did choose a meaning for dhan that is not
That
found in
was
the Quran,
stupid.
and God mentions it many times in the Quran. And it is strange that he
Yeah,
picked
but
the
he's
meaning.
just he was
Yeah.
evading. He was evading any meaningful discussion. That's why I wanted to get out of it and move to stuff that actually mattered. I texted you and I messaged several of you. I said, guys, just move it along. Stop it. Just move it along.
But
Just
there's
one
a
thing though.
there's just really quick. Yeah, I apologize for chiming in, but look, the second he says, and they know this, it's in their hadith terminology. They call the term zon. Like God controls this, just like they use the term hadith. It literally means conjecture. So he's saying that look, there's two basic interpretations of hadith. One is kind of like cut and dry gata, right? The other one is conjecture. He's saying that this, in his own words, is conjecture. Right. The only reason of calling him out and saying that this the use of Zon is because literally you're gonna get him in a chokehold he's not gonna be able to get out of.
Hmm,
That was the whole setup, because the
yeah.
second he says yes, it's Zon, it's like, okay, what's Zon? Zon? Oh, it's conjecture. Oh, what's the Quran say about conjecture?
So I did bring that up. This is the funny thing. On the 4 hadiths, he worked his way out of 2 and 3. So for 2, the farewell sermon, right? The 4 hadith that we bring, the book of God, my son, and follows. The second one, he worked his way out. He says, okay, this is the Sirah, and it's from Ibn Ishaq, and this is then. He literally said, this is then. I don't accept it. Um,
Yeah,
that's
but
what he
none of them
said.
are found. That's the thing. They're found in all four are found in multiple sources. So it's not
So
like it's just in the Sirat
the,
that
the,
of Ibn
Well,
Ishaq.
do we
on
have the
ours,
second
yeah,
one?
yeah, because Peter, on ours, on the second one, we only have the Sierra
Yeah,
cited.
that's why he
We
just
only
worked his way out of it.
he worked on what we had cited, and we
Okay,
only
okay.
have Ibn Asal. So if
Yeah,
someone can
and
add
then
to this list and make
we
it
need
broader, I think you made this image. Just add more sources. The more
Inshallah.
sources, the
Okay, okay.
better.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then
I mean,
third one,
yeah. Okay.
So he
yes,
weaseled
I'll
his
tell you
way
why
out
he
of that
said,
because he's saying that's not a muhaddith or whatever.
yeah.
You
So
know
and then
what though? I wanna commend Sajjad real quick because he was doing a really good job. I think he could have went harder on him, but he didn't let him just weasel out of stuff. So good job, Sajjad, for like
thank you very
continuing
much.
to keep it going as long as you did. I mean,
God
You
bless
guys,
you.
but I
God
feel
bless
like these
you.
guys. I feel like these guys sense when they look too stupid. Like I just don't. I don't know if there's an easy way to play around with them. Like because if you go too hard on one point, they're like, okay, I feel defeated. I'm out of here.
Wait, I
No,
want
no,
to actually go
they
over his
always
point.
attack you. They always attack you
I know, but I wanted to be on the
with
offensive. I want to say
of
your hadith are satanic,
Yeah.
your shahada's fake. Like I wanted to taunt him and put him in the corner, and make him defend these views.
Listen, Naveed's been really good all week. He really
Dude,
wanted to Hulk out on the guy, and he didn't.
too
Yeah.
funny though that if he eliminated item number 2, I didn't realize that that's the one that says Sunnah. That's the one that basically all the traditionalists they believe what was stated, right? So if he's gonna say I'm gonna reject that, then it pretty much it destroys his whole decimates his whole theology because the Prophet on his final sermon didn't mention the Sunnah.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
These are
Like
the kind of
he
points
wanted
that I
to
wanted to hit on. These are the
yeah,
kind
he
of points
wanted
I
to
wanted to hit.
keep like changing his point so he doesn't have any.
Elham wants to speak.
So
Go
what
ahead,
I
Elham.
yeah,
Yeah, I
what
just
I want
just
right now,
because
guys.
when we're recording, we just can't have us like mocking and stuff or
Yeah,
imitating
yeah,
them.
yeah. Yeah. We have to
Can't do
look
stuff
good.
like that.
We have to look professional. We have to look good. If he insults, let him insult. I mean, in the clip, it's gonna look really bad on him, right? So next time, it's gonna be good. Now, I want to just go over his points, so next time we're ready. So on number 2, on the Book of God and my Sunnah, inshallah, if we can get more sources, that's really important because again, that's not like a hadith book; it's a sirah, and he just worked
Trust me,
weasel his way
there's
out of it.
plenty of hadith. There's plenty of hadith
Okay,
that
fantastic.
basically make that claim.
Yeah, inshallah, we can get more sources. Whoever made, I think you made it, or Jonathan. Please.
But guys, it's bad because he himself had discredited that. So he himself is ignorant of other sources confirming it, right? So he himself is not as knowledgeable as he claims.
Yeah. I mean, he
That's
didn't know.
that's
This
not
is the
good.
thing. It's actually a good point. And also, okay, now the third one, dude, he came up with a new point. On the third one, I had never heard this. He said the third one is not actually the Pharaoh's speech, but he brought the whole hadith and he said this is like an after sort of speech that he gave that a man, the random man, thought is a Pharaoh's speech. Now I'm just gonna read the hadith. It says
That's
one,
funny.
yeah, it says
So,
one
so
day.
yeah, yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, go, good.
Do you know
I'll
the
make
argument, or
commentary
do you
there.
want me to explain it just for everyone to know?
Yeah, say it. No, like I can piece together the argument, but go ahead.
Yeah. So the hadith says, one day after the morning salah, the Messenger of Allah exhorted us to the extent that the eyes wept and the heart shuddered with fear. A man said, indeed, this is a farewell exhortation. So what do you order us, O Messenger of Allah? He said, I order you to have the taqwa of Allah and to listen and obey, even in the case of an Ethiopian slave. Indeed, whomever among you lives, you will see much difference. Beware of the newly invented matters, for indeed they are astray. Whoever among you sees that, then he must stick to my sunnah and the sunnah of the rightly guided khulafa. Cling it to it with the molars. Now, he was saying this is actually not the farewell speech because this is just a random man. It says in here, it says, a man said, indeed, this is a farewell exhortation. So he's saying this is like a random man saying it from his point of view that we don't know who this is. Like this is not Ali or Omar or Abu Bakr. So it doesn't matter what this man says. He just thought this is the farewell speech. This is not actually the farewell speech. So he worked his way out of this one this way, even though this was a Sahih Hadith. This one also, I don't know if there's a way we can prove it that it is actually
Can I ask a question real quickly?
yeah.
With all of our bots and stuff we have, why don't we have a search hadith bot?
I think that's another bot. It's not a submission bot. I think there's a Sunnah
Yeah.
bot or something. We have to ask Saad.
It's a weird.
Too many.
It's a weird bot
Too
to
many
help.
of these.
That's also true, but it's also a weird bot to have on a server that says no hadith, right? Or like anti-hadith.
Right, but we should be able to search up hadiths so that we can refute them, right? With sources.
Maybe. I just
Yeah,
don't know if
maybe
there's
we
a bot
can-
advanced enough that has them all.
We have a we have a website for that, and Said did make a hadith bot, but
Yeah,
I'm not
we
in
can
favor
work
of
on that,
having
but
hadith bot here.
let me hear if dude has heard this
Yeah, go
argument
ahead.
before that the third one is not actually the farewell speech.
Yeah, like I can piece together that argument because yeah, contextually it seems different. Also, there's the account. Who joined?
Someone
It's me,
just
Mr.
mute
Snoop.
yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Hey,
Just mute
brother.
yourself right
Assalamu alaikum.
We come back to you.
Yeah. So this, and then also there's a debate. Like if you notice that where he actually gave this sermon, right? So someone could say, okay, these are actually two different ones. They got conflated. This and that. All that it looks bad on the hadith because it's like, look, if these details that you would think, in essence, should be kind of like ironclad are ambiguous, it just shows kind of the weakness in the entire kind of narrative. That it's not explicit, like, oh, some dude just made a mistake. There's no clarification for it. But this is also the same hadith where it has the Mahdi, the Rashidun Khalifun. Yeah. So it's like it's the same branch of the hadith.
So his whole argument on the four, like other than working his way out, he was saying according to 63.7, which uses the word tabaqan, like layers, that a word in the Quran can have different meanings, and it's not certain the hadith is the same. Then we were explaining to him it's one thing for the same verse, with the same letters and the same words, it's just one verse, for you to like want to interpret different ways. Is another thing when you have different quotations or different resources and try to reconcile them. He was saying that no, this is similar in that case, that we can understand it differently.
This is the same argument that we would have with suspected. They treat the hadith as if it's like literature, like people are being figurative. Like, I'm sorry, when someone is giving you a testimony or an account, no one's giving literature, right? They're giving straightforward, hey, this is what happened, this is what took place. But this is always a tactic. Anytime someone gets stumped in a contradiction, they have to harmonize two things. The first approach, if you can't disjoin them, is that you say that, okay, they're used metaphorically, allegorically, that, oh, this doesn't mean what it actually states, that there is this underneath meaning behind it, and that's the thing. If it's poetry or if it's God's speech, I can understand that. But to say someone made a comment and he didn't mean it, in the surface level reading, that he actually meant it in an allegorical way, Like
Mm.
to me, it's just that's just coping at that point.
Yeah. So this is what I understand from them. They want to treat it like the Quran when it comes to jurisprudence, but when it comes to the scrutiny, they just hold it to a very low standard. And I don't know, to me, sometimes similar to what Christians do. They say, well, this is not the word of God, this is what the church fathers say, but we still gonna
100%.
hold it.
Yeah, yeah. This is literally. It's funny. I just finished reading a book about this. This is the way that you harmonize. Is that if you can't, first you try to find some sort of like loophole to say, okay, these are contextually different. If that utterly fails, then you have to go to a metaphorical, allegorical. Oh, it's intentional, and they're doing that now heavily with the multiple qira'at because that cat's out of the bag. So they want to say, look, it's not contradictory. God is addressing multiple layers by having these different recitations.
Mm. Yeah. No, inshallah, I wanted to talk about the odds too, but we didn't get the chance. But yeah, that was, I think, the whole argument that we were talking. Oh, also, on the difference of years, like 10, 13, and 15. How long did the Prophet stay in Mecca? His argument was that it depends on the method of counting. So, did they count the number of years he was there just in the city, or does it also count when they exiled him from the city for like 2 years, 2 or 3 years, which makes it, I don't know, 13? And does it count like some, like he was making up some
What's
other
this exile
calculation?
thing? This
What
is the
was
first time I've
that?
heard of an exile.
Yeah, no. So it has
So
to do
kick,
with
yeah, yeah.
when Muhammad
but
was
but
exiled from the city.
so if I'm not mistaken, so I'm not off base here, this is the number of years in Mecca, right? And then
Yes,
the
yes.
Medinan years
He
are
was saying
different,
that
right?
the method of counting is
If
dependent on what they counted as how long he stayed in Mecca. For example, when
okay.
he was exiled, whether that was being counted or not. That was his argument.
Well, you don't get to 15. That's the challenge, right? You don't even get to 13. Like some people, again, they try to make these arguments of harmonization. But the aspect is, if I'm not mistaken, in the various hadith, it talks about when he received the revelation to the hijrah. So it's giving an actual definitive time frame there, right? It's not being open-ended like they wish it was.
Okay, so the actual hadith says from the time that he received revelations
I
from the
believe
time he
so.
left for Medina. Is that what they're saying?
Yes, yeah. So they're saying the number of years in Mecca is basically from the revelation. That's when they start the counting. So it really boxes them in.
Yeah, I have to look further into that
Yeah,
because I
I mean
got
Jonathan is the
confused. Yeah, Jonathan, I
Jonathan did
don't.
all
Can
the
you explain
yeah.
this? I
You
don't
can chime in.
understand. Yeah, Jonathan, if you can speak.
Yeah, sorry. What was the issue about the Mecca
No,
thing?
on this whole, how many years he was in Mecca and the differences of way of counting. Like, I understood what he was saying, but I don't know like how to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're relying on their exegetes, right? So don't go to the actual argument that they're saying. Look at the exegetes. I don't know which one he was saying, but I know that Ibn Hajar says rounding is the answer to this. So you round up to 15 or down to 10, right? But Ibn Kathir says something completely different. It says, Israfil gave, Muhammad revelation before the Quran, right? And that contradicts the other reasoning. So he's adding a different exegesis for this hadith, right? Because it's separated by time. You have one person like Ibn Hajar explaining it one way, then you have another person like Ibn Kathir explaining it one way, and then Imam Nawawi explaining it a third way, right? So you can attack the contradictions of their explanations instead of the actual hadith.
What's funny? This is a tactic I'm realizing that like they do in other aspects with the qira'at. What they'll do is they'll say, hey, look, here's like 10 reasons to justify the different qira'at, and as if that case closed. And they'll pick and choose from each of the arguments as it's suitable. But it's like none of the arguments work independently on their own.
Oh, and they won't choose just one person for all of the arguments. They'll pick and choose what they like from whoever.
Yeah, Christians do this all the
It's
time. Like they mention
uh,
Matthew and then go to John or some book that try to connect it.
it's
This is what
no,
they
no.
do.
I'll give you a perfect example. The hadith where it says that no one knew of 9/1/20/129, right? They'll pick from different narrations to try to increase the count of individuals, but as if they're all valid. It's like, look, they can't all be valid. Like one is valid or the other, and each one you go with, at most you get one, maybe two people, right? But they treat it as if it's like, no, we're going to take one person from this narration, one person from that narration, even though the narrations themselves conflict with one another. And then they'll basically aggregate it that way. And they do this with the arguments. It's like they stack them as if like, okay, independently, they're all weak. But if you stack a lot of bad arguments together that are conflicting, as if that creates one strong argument.
I see.
It's a, if you in 2008 they did this with the subprime loans. They got a bunch of these like what do you call it, junk loans, and they put them together and they just labeled them AAA.
AAA.
It's the same thing. It's like you get a bunch of bad arguments, you tranche them together, and you say, okay, now they're good.
That's AAA.
Wait. How, what? How did I become a
Okay,
lover
can we
of-
just
of
can
bad
we
arguments?
rank real quick, guys? Can we rank our strongest arguments against Sunnis so I can use it when I debate them?
I like intercession. I feel like that's a great one. I don't know.
I don't like that one. I'm not comfortable using it.
I do. Yeah.
No, I
I
think
don't-
Shahada is the best one.
Really,
The verse is testify to it.
I feel like Shahada is weaker than intercession.
This is the
Oh, I
funny
think- I
thing.
think-
No, Shahada is definitely stronger than intercession. Are you
No,
kidding
because
me?
it,
One of the easiest ones to dispute, though.
yeah, that's the reason
Shahada,
that
you
it's
guys,
weaker.
I remember, guys, you peace be upon you guys. I remember in previous debates in Shahada, you guys get caught into the subject of what is Shahada, what is witness,
Exactly.
and then they
Exactly.
witnessing, they go down in waters like you didn't witness. We witnessed God, but you don't remember, so it doesn't count. So, like, don't go into that route of
What-
definition.
Fine.
This is why I don't like it.
What about dietary law?
Yeah, dietary law is good.
Too wishy-washy with the whole like meat and like dedication,
The
meaning
problem is
slaughtering.
no,
No,
sister. That's for
no.
hypocrites. They don't care about that part. The Sunnis care
We're not
about
talking
what
about
is
that.
prohibited.
Talking about
Right.
Yo,
them,
guys, I'm still
prohibiting
confused on the years in
crustaceans.
Mecca. Can someone like? Did you guys
What,
fully
what's
understand?
the confusion, Sajjad?
No, so like if they're trying to weasel their way out of it and they say I don't know, there's different methods of counting or
So-
they're rounding, like how they respond to that.
Here, I'll mediate if I understood correctly. So, hey, Jonathan, can you confirm in the 10, 13, and 15, it explicitly says from when he received revelation, right? So it's not like there's much wiggle room as far as when the start date is, when the end date is, correct?
Yeah, I can. I'll double check that right now.
Yeah. So, okay, then
That was
what
my
Jonathan
understanding when
said-
I read them carefully. That was exactly my understanding.
It's not fresh. I want to double check. Okay. But then, secondly, what Jonathan is saying, he's saying, look, this guy is picking one of the exegesis, explaining this concept. Okay. And rather than arguing with him that, oh, he's rounding this and that, what you do is say, well, look, other scholars are basically saying that, no, that's not the case. It's not a rounding thing. It's actually, a way of calculating that's different. And you pin one scholar against the other to show that, look, there's no validity. You guys are just guessing at that point. Jonathan, was that a fair assessment?
Yeah, that was perfect. And on the hadith part, it says, okay, so for one of them, bear this in mind very well that he was commissioned as a prophet at the age of 40 and stayed in Mecca for 15 years. Right, so that one mentions when it started, and then the other one, then he stayed in Mecca for 13 years, receiving the divine revelation. All right, so he received divine revelation, that one, and then the last one, the prophet remained in Mecca for 10 years, during which the Quran used to be revealed to him. So in all three of them, it has it.
Well, how do you oh shoot.
Right. So did you get that?
So
So
how
all
do
of
I
them are saying, yeah, all of them are explicitly giving a start and stop date. So there isn't wiggle room. The only argument they can make is that, oh, this is rounding. But who rounds 10, 13, 15? Right? If you discard 13, you could say, okay, maybe 10, 15, maybe, but that's a big jump, because if you believe that it's a 13, it's like, then the one valid one would be invalid.
Oh wait, we got a new Trinity dropped here. This is sick. It's right. Oh, I understand
Hey guys,
now the
I want to go.
argument.
Are
I
you guys
understand.
down? Are you guys down to go in TikTok live with me?
Yes.
Yes, I will. I think I just understood. So it's not even So, okay, so with the basic Sunnis, you can just show this thing. 10, 13, 15, they get stumped. But with the more evolved version of Sunnis, you need to play with with their tafsir of the hadith itself to say there's a contradiction on the tafsir of the hadith. Correct? If I understood
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
properly.
They just, and they do this a lot. They throw spaghetti on the wall, and hope something sticks. So they got, like, a whole laundry list of bad arguments, and they think that if they throw enough of these bad arguments, as if in conjunction, that made one good argument.
Oh, this is really bad. Wow. Wow.
This is, but
Dang.
it's interesting. It's not unique to Sunnis. Like, this is just very standard. It's like, okay, first you try to say that, okay, they're different. Then you say, crap, I can't do that. Okay, they're not different, they're the same. Okay, is there a way to harmonize? There isn't. Okay, I got to take it allegorically. Okay, they don't actually mean 10, they don't actually mean 15, right? How do I do that? And it's like you're slowly kind of trying to figure out a way to quote unquote harmonize. And the last option, nuclear option, you say this guy's wrong. But they know they can't do that, because the second they basically say, one of their Sahih narrations or something is wrong, it puts the whole corpus at risk.
But this is worse than I thought. Not only the hadith disagree, but even the exegesis of the hadith disagree too. That's the level of contradiction.
Yeah. I mean, they have to make an argument, right? So it's like, and it's not just limited to this. Like, it's funny. I was just reading regarding it was 7 or 8 arguments to why the different of Gira'at does not mean God didn't preserve the Quran per the Sunni interpretation, and each one's a different argument, right? Or it's like, what is the 7 aruf, and each one gives a different argument. It's like, okay, you guys are just throwing stuff out there. They're all weak, but as if it's like, oh, we got like 20 explanations, as if that makes one strong explanation.
Yeah, I think the Outroof one is a little different though, because they openly admit, like, hey, we don't actually know what it is. We just have opinions. And this one's more authentic than the other, and this other opinion may be better or weaker. That one I think is less solid.
Yeah, but even then, they put all their terrible arguments up front, and then hand wave as if it's like the problem is solved.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, rather than actually giving a solid, like, you'll read everything and be like, okay, give me no answer to anything, as if it's like, okay, no problem, nothing to see here.
Okay. Guy, can somebody share the link on here and in the TikTok channel? I'm gonna go now.
All right, God bless. Peace.
Godspeed.
Wait, what does Godspeed mean?
God be with you.
Oh, nice. New phrase.
What's interesting? They used to sign their letters. This is like during the founding of America. If I'm not mistaken, DV, which stands for Dios. I can't remember what the V stands for, but it translates to God willing. It's really cool.
Interesting.
Same thing with good day, good night. It's basically, it was before it was good. If I'm not mistaken, it was with a reference to God.
Yeah, one other argument I just remembered he made was, how do we know the as-salat, right? Interestingly, he didn't use the argument of hadith. He used the argument of tawatur, that it was mass transmitted. And at that point I was like, yeah, the salah was mass transmitted with millions of people simultaneously, right? And he said, oh, well, the hadith is mass transmitted simultaneously with millions of people. And the funny thing is this: the guy was straight up lying, just trying to, like, make me make it that I don't know about. And I told him, no, there is no single hadith. They have millions of narratives. Oh, well, if you count from the time of the prophet till now, you have no. No, dude, we're talking about time of the prophet to 200 years later. You don't have millions of narratives in your hadith. And
It's
then
such nonsense.
at that point, I got him, and then he was like, okay, well, you would see minor differences in the hadith. Sorry, in the salat. And I said, yes, that proves my point. If we have millions of people transmitting it and we see minor differences, imagine how messed up it would be when you have 10 to 15 people. At that point, the conversation shifted to something else. But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's true. The archetype, right? You would say, okay, hey, the salat was something that's just like all the other religious practices. It was mass participated in. You have every person doing this task, passing it on to the next generation, legitimately mutawatir. But I would say two things. One is, okay, the Quran, it says that it's here to settle disputes, okay? Two, you have to figure out, okay, what is the general archetype that everyone is unified on, right? And then between those two methods, you can remove the impurities. And the reason you don't have to worry about things being so much omitted from it is the religious tendency is not to take out, but it's to add. You know, and a perfect example of this, I mean, he won't believe this, but it's the aspect of the abolition or the dietary prohibitions, right? The mistake people make, religious people, is not of removing dietary prohibitions, right? Or removing steps from the abolition. It's adding more steps to it, right? That's what they always do. So we could expect a similar thing would happen to the salat, the adhan, where people would continuously be adding to it. So we say, okay, what was added to this? Okay, remove all that, and then you're going to have the pure, pristine kind of salat.
What if they come up with the argument that the Christians basically removed all the religion practices from their religion and left themselves with nothing really?
For that, we use 9:15:9, I believe.
Yeah, they lost the contact prayers, but not only they lost contact prayers, they lost every other practice. Like they're all the stuff that the Old Testament and the Jews were to do, and they were just assumed that none of it is relevant anymore.
Well, two things. One is that yes, but we know that in according to 545, 548, that each congregation, right, was given a different sharia, that they had a different milat than what we do. So we wouldn't expect it to be exact, but there should be some traces of it, right? And we do see it. Like even if you look at how the Hasidic Jews pray, it's very similar. Like it has a lot of similar structure to how the salat is done, you know, by the submitters. So, you know, to me, it's like, okay, if you want to go down that path, like, yeah, it's been lost, but the remnants of it is there. But then also there's no guarantee that their salat's going to be the exact same as our salat.
Yeah, praise God.
But in terms of adding things, even the Jews, like it's mentioned in the Quran, that they added right things to their practices, and that God held them accountable for it, right? In the case of
prohibition was one of them, right?
no, I'm saying they added, not prohibited. They not only prohibited, but they added things to the religion, like to the religious practices, like when it comes to dietary laws, for example, right? And then God held them accountable for it. You see what I'm saying? Because you're arguing like, oh, the Christians, lost
Yeah,
their
yeah.
religious practices. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so they added, but we know also in the Bible says that